Hey everybody. Hey everybody, as everybody's coming in, we'll get started here in a minute or two. Thanks for joining me. You will be back here in a second. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon here from the East Coast. My name is James Magliano. I'm one of the senior representatives here at BlueGolf. I'll be going over USGA integration and some net competition information today. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to sit with me for a couple minutes and going over those items. I'm going to go through some information, and then any questions or comments you have, put them in the Q&A section after the presentation, and I'll answer as many as I can with the time allotted. These are recorded, so what we will do is we will put them in our knowledge base once they upload to Zoom's cloud, and we'll get them edited, get the couple minutes that we had of dead time cut out, and get them up as quickly as possible. So thanks again for joining me. We'll go ahead and get started. As I said, today is focusing on the USGA integration and some net competitions. So what I did is I went into a TM console, and I just built a shell of a tournament, as you see here. It's just called the USGA demo, just to kind of go over a few things that might help you out in getting your events started up, or if anybody is new to using the TM platform, just kind of give you some information about how the USGA integration works and how the net competition works, because those two things go hand in hand. So the first thing I want to mention is, if you're new to the system, all of your members from your club are imported directly into your tournament management system. For any of the people who are veterans of the system, most recently we put in some additions with the USGA for a more streamlined process of updating members to show, in your TM platform. Over the last couple of weeks, we were making some modifications with the USGA. So you have options now to get members into the console. So any modifications made on the USGA portal, or as some associations call it, Member Planet, they will update in a much rapid time, compared to what you were used to. You can also reach out to the local AGA that you're involved with. They can help out as well. So that's one thing that has been modified recently since the early existence stages of the TM platform. Keep in mind the TM platform, our system has been around for 20 plus years. It's just the TM platform is a newer look of that. So it's not like it's a new product for us. It's been around for a while. We just kind of make it more streamlined for the clubs, whether it be a golf club itself or a type 2 or type 3 club. All right. So The next thing I want to show you is if I go back into my home area, I'll show you some of the things involving some of the membership information that I want to go over to help everybody out with, getting, a better understanding of how the API with the USGA works. So you have your member directory in the top right. What you want to focus on is, going into those, you have essentially, you have everything up here with your membership that has been imported and any modifications you need to be made to them. You can go in, mass edit, etc. Update indexes directly from the member database now. So that was a newer feature that was released here in the last few days. In the past, you just have to solely do it in the golfers tab, but you can now do it for your entire member database. Even if you're not running an event for a couple days, you can still update those indexes via the member database. So that's one thing I wanted to kind of show you. And then you can essentially add members via the BlueGolf system, recent, or you can add members by the new option. You can email your members directly as well. The email that was there has been there, but it's just something nice to go over. The next thing that I want to kind of focus on is essentially more of handicap driven information when it comes to contests. So when you're running an event and you have respective contests, for any maybe guests or new members or anything along those lines, what does the integration with the USGA do to help you guys here? So I'm going to go back into that USGA demo. And as you see, I added 5 people. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is our test console, so it's not fully integrated with the USGA. There is some manual stuff we have to do. But one of the things I wanted to show you guys is pertaining to, if you have a guest coming out, or what is called an associate member from another state or another AGA or friends of a friend or whatever it would be. If you click the 3 dots here in the top right corner and you go to mass edit, you will have the ability to give this person an index, right? So as some of you guys are familiar with this, you'll be able to go in, put in some indexes if people don't have GIN numbers in here or they are guests or outside of your organization. You can go in and pop in an index for them, right? So you easily just go in, 5.2. You can actually hit tab. Notice it didn't do anything until you got to that dash, but tab does work. I use it often, actually. So it's just a little trick that some people don't know about. Oops. And then all I have to do is hit that back arrow, and these players will essentially have their course handicap appear once you see them in the golfers area. Right, as I said, you had the update indexes within the member database there. You still have it here under the golfer side, so you can go in and update the essential index for those respective players in this tournament. So that's not moving anywhere. The next big common question is, how do I get these associate members or players from another AGA or outside of, maybe the region, right? Say you're located in, New Mexico or Idaho or California, but I'm coming out from the East Coast. How do you get me in to a tournament if I have a GIN number? So what you could do is you can go over into the golfers tab, you can click add golfer, and you get the different options here at the top. The one you want to focus on is the USGA, okay? So what this does is this gives you the state representation of where their GIN number is being held. In this instance, we are located in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to have Pennsylvania here. and I'm going to type in my last name, hit enter, and there I am, right? So I go in, I can add myself to this tournament with my USGA index right into it. So if you have people coming from out of state, or if they're local and new to the area, just say, hey, what state has your GIN number? Pop in their last name or their handicap ID, and that will be an easy way to get them in. And since I'm on that topic, there is a new feature that came out. It doesn't tie into these things, but I want to show you, is you can have a guest option. And so as you see here, there's a little bubble that explains everything there, and you can add some guests to that respective event as well. Now, another thing you want to keep in mind is when you get those indexes in for these people, right? And I'm going to highlight the one thing that you guys probably see that you're like, well, what happened? So if you see Antonio Freeman is a 5.2 index with an 8 course handicap. If I click this eye bubble, it's going to, now it's probably not going to show anything because I don't have a contest here. So let me actually put a contest in. And I actually probably know why that box won't appear. Because this account is not 100% connected to the USGA system, so it's not really pulling 100% of the data. So that's why we would have saw the no handicap next to my name when we're in the event itself, but you did see that my GIN number did populate. So, you know, next time, what we'll make sure to do is we'll get one that's fully integrated here. So it kind of shows a little bit more of the data that, you know, we're trying to show, but the general concept is still the same. You'll be able to essentially go in and, you know, update the T's, update the indexes, etc. But that's the reason why you don't see the NH here next to my name. But when you did the search, it showed the 8.0. So like the connection point's there, but the data point on our side isn't there yet. But that kind of gives you a better understanding of that information. Oh, it is at least trying to populate this now. So the next thing is the handicap calculations. So there's a lot of people, you know, think of it this way. You guys as a tournament administrator for your club, right, usually have a basic understanding or an advanced understanding of how the handicap system works. Well, some of your players don't. So what we did is we made this easy access tile to where you can say, okay, you know, this player is a 9.5 with all the calculations. They come out to be a 13 index or course handicap on those sets of tees, right? And this will change based off the tee you select on them. So if you went into golfers and mass edit, you can change the tees and people's tees would change. All right. So that's just a, you know, some data information. So if you have a player that comes up and says, hey, why was I a 9 on the golf course when my index is a 6.8? You can then explain to them and show them that little tile, and that will help explain the reasoning behind the difference of the handicap index and the course index. The next thing I want to do, and I'm going to pop in scores real quick or just make some pairings real fast. And a lot of you guys who are veterans to the system understand this, is the ability to post scores. I think I have 6 people in here. Let's go in. And the one other change too that we made recently, guys, and it's not applied to this, but it's very helpful. And some of the feedback we got was this toggle menu always defaulting to up and down instead of, you know, all the way across. What the system will do now is it will automatically keep that selected for the next pairings until the end. So it won't change over for the next group when I score them. So I'm going to throw some scores in real fast. Now, the other reason too, maybe why my handicap isn't showing is Pennsylvania is not open yet for posting. So that could be essentially part of it as well. And for this instance, I'm going to skip over my profile. So when I do post these, it doesn't actually post to my current index. Oops. I'm actually going to take me out of the pairing. And then I'm actually going to go in and I'm actually going to withdraw me. So it won't try to post to my index. So we got essentially some scores in, which will lead into my next area, is event information. Right, I'm going to go in and kind of give you some examples of some net events that would apply to your guys' program. Some of the most commonly used ones here in the system, based off of the different associations and other organizations that utilize the system. The first one is going to be just a general individual stroke play. You guys have the individual tag or the team tag, you know, what format, all the different formats that we have. And it's saying that it's a net event. I go ahead and hit add contest, essentially set that up, right? Stroke play, individual handicap. We're going to say, you know what, this is going to be an 85% handicap. And then what is your max of that, you know, handicap as well? And we're going to go ahead and save that. Just basically sets you up with, you know, hey, everybody who's in this event is going to be 85% of their index. One of the other common ones is essentially a team scramble. So when I go in there, I can go down to team scramble. I say, okay, that's going to be a net event as well. Hit add contest. And then actually what I have to do, guys, sorry, is I have to make this a team event. I'm going to try to make it, I'm going to make it 4 players. Let's go back. Make it 4. No flights. And then I'll go back in to contests. And that's what I wanted you to see. The system is, right now it was set to a 2-man foursome. So it gave the 35 and 15 automatically. But with a 4-man, it is 20, 15, and 10. Right? So people are going to ask, okay, well, what do I do? How do we know who gets those respective percentages? So what you want to do is you always put your lowest players first to your highest, right? Because you want to even out that distribution as much as you can, right? So because somebody could be, you know, a 36 handicap or a 25 or, you know, 4 or 5. So you want to make them in your specific order. And then each person on the team, if this is the first person on the team, that's what they will get, second, third, fourth. So you just have to remember to get them in the proper order. But that kind of shows you how the USGA recommendation for stroke allocation is divvied up based off of the contest. The system has that automatically built into it. All right. The next thing I want to show you, and one of the final, you know, scoring methods in the system that we get a lot of questions about, is essentially a best ball or an alternate shot or something along those lines, right? So what we can do is, where is my best ball? Alternate shot foursomes, there it is. Go ahead and hit net, contest, add it, and then essentially what it would do is it gives you, now this is a 4-man team, not a 2-man team. So if I go in and, we'll change over, let's delete this out real quick and delete this one out real quick. So you see the breakdown of handicaps properly. If it was a twosome, go back in, add team, alternate shot and foursomes, net event, add contest. So what it's going to do is it's going to be 50% of the total team handicap. So player 1 handicap, you can do 100%, you can do 85, you can do whatever you would like, right? So we give you the flexibility there for those. And then it takes 50% of that total, right? Save it. So you still have the flexibility of doing whatever you would like in those contests. The next thing I want to show you is kind of for when the event's over. Go ahead. Actually, let me skip that and actually go to some of the questions we've been getting is about scorecards. So I'm going to just go ahead and kind of shuffle these pairings a little bit easily, or a little more even. Let's just do the threesome there and the twosome there, etc. Let's go in and make teams real quick. I think there's 5 people now. So let's just say, 1, 2, those 2 is on 1, save that team, add team. We're going to say this one and this one, save that team. And we'll go into, scorecards. And we're going to say, all right, composite tees, alternate shot, gross, and foursomes. We're going to show the team names. And we're going to do essentially, I wonder if that was my mouse. It was. And then you can specify, anything else if you needed to in that gross and net, and then the layout of that information. So another thing that we're making modifications to here, guys, is that bottom area under the layout. It's a little cumbersome and can be quite confusing. So we're going to change that up a little bit, make it a little more streamlined so people understand what those are exactly applying. But what this is the ability to make some modifications to the standard card, right? Score index row, stroke index row, print or omit. Omit means just to hide. Marker score row, print or hide. Marker position, 1 inch from the bottom of the card, 1 inch from the top of the card, 3/4 from the top, 3/4 from the bottom. So we all know that everybody has possible different paper that they either get from the USGA or they go to like Staples or Office Max and just have them put perforations in there. Those options there help you kind of get our card onto the paper that you have without getting cut off like on the perforation lines or anything along those there, on that area. So that's what that means. So we're going to clean that up a little bit for everybody, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to print this scorecard. Download it, open it up, right? And it's just showing, hey, it's a team event. And as you saw, I made it gross, right? Whatever it would be. Let's go ahead and make it say 85% of that team combined handicap. Little dot off essentially the respective dots on those respective cards. Okay. So that gives you a little bit more of information about, just how to omit strokes off, how to do things along those lines. One quick thing that I want to go over as well is, and I'll get to this reporting as my last option here, is we've have a couple questions about what about some of, no, I don't have them on here. The custom scorecards. So when you guys get into your platforms and you have scorecards and you get custom, when you go into the editor, so if you do a team card, it'll say, team 1, player 1, player 2, 3, 4. if you double click in the blank row where you would actually, if I had a pencil, I would put a score in, double click there, and there'll be a handicap dot show or hide. So a lot of people ask about that. How, I created a scorecard, but I don't see how to get, I don't see dots on players 3 and 4. Double click in there and tell the dots to show, or you can tell the dots to hide. Even if you hide the dots on the scorecard, the system will know of the rules you put in there, so it will provide the proper dotting to the scorecards on the back end. So when you do your scoring, you will see that respective dots being applied on those holes. The last thing I want to show is essentially some of the summary and reporting stuff that we get a lot of questions about. So like player rosters, you can now add indexes and course indexes in there, and maybe, some start times. Oops. I'm going to click this again and actually rerun those. You can get their GIN number in there if you wanted to. That's what handicap ID is. So you get their name, their index, their start hole, and what their indexing course is. So that's one thing. So if you guys, need to keep it at, if you have a registration table or you keep it in the clubhouse or whatever it is, you have it posted for that event so they know what they're going to be receiving based off of the contest that you guys are running for that day. A few other things is just, team rosters, what their team combined index is or what the combined team player handicaps are. And you can show some other different things in here to provide more data for players. Barry and Damon are combined 8.7, but they're playing at a 12 based off of the rules you have. And Freeman and Hart are 14.7 playing as an 18. So it's just some other reporting information there that you guys are looking for. We've added some more data in there as well. The last thing I want to show you is essentially posting the scores when completed. So if I go into golfers and I go to post scores, I check round 1. You can say, was it a competition score, an away or a home score, right? And then you can essentially hit preview. Oops. Hit preview again. This might not bring back any data because there's nobody with indexes in here. As you see, there's nobody with indexes besides myself. So it's not going to show anything. But if you hit preview, preview just shows you what it would do. You have to hit the post button, and then it will essentially will post those to that respective player's handicap. One other thing too is if you make a mistake and you actually apply the wrong tees to somebody or the entire contest, you can come back in here days after the fact, and the system is smart enough to say, okay, this event is over. I already posted scores, but when you repost, it overrides the previous post. So you don't have to go in and delete 38 scores. You can just go back in 2 days later or whatever it would be and repost those scores. So that's a nice little thing to keep in mind. You don't have to bother your respective AGA to delete those scores. You don't have to go into your Member Planet or USGA portal and delete those scores. The system's smart enough just to go ahead and do that information. So I'm going to leave it there today, guys. Hopefully that was some information that was helpful. We're going to be doing one, I think, in another week or 2. I'm not 100% sure what that topic is. It will be sent out to everybody if it hasn't already, and you'll be able to sign up for those. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A section, and I will answer them here if the time allows. All right, so there's two questions here, both by the same gentleman. How do I access players that may not be part of my membership? So that is actually something that I kind of went through. So to an extent, right? So if you know essentially those players that do have a USGA index, you can go into that golfers tab as I showed you earlier and go to add golfer. And then you can go to this USGA option and pull them directly over, right? You can register people as essentially a guest in your membership. And the other option you have now here is this mass add. So this mass add option, what this does is you can just type in people's names. So if they're not a part of your organization, but you know they're coming, and say there's 10 or 12 of them, you can go in here and just start typing away on first name. Put in a phone number. You can actually skip the email if you would like to. You don't have to put an email in here. All right, and then whatever their index is. Go down to the bottom, add golfers. Right, so that's another easy way to go ahead and do that as well. So now we should have essentially those two players in here. Eric Brown, right there. Bob, where's Bob? There's Bob. I'm right there. So it gives you the ability to just add players in there as you would like. Let me check the other question here. Bear with me 1 second. Oops, sorry guys. All right, so the next question is, I run a Chapman that use 60% of the low handicap and 40% of the high handicap. Can you show me how to do that? So if you wanted to do like a Chapman, I'm going to just, use these players in here as an example, right? When you go into essentially the tournaments, all right? Say we'll use this Freeman and Hart as an example. I'm going to go in and delete these out real quick. Okay. Let's go in and add a contest. We're going to do a team contest. Oops, let me actually back up. I want to make sure. I think I still have it as 2-man teams here. Let's double check. I do. All right, let's go in. We're going to add a contest. We can go individuals and team, excuse me, and we can just do a. I got to get this thing out of the way. And the heck is my, there it is. Say stroke play, handicap, net or gross, net, continue. Actually, I don't want to use net and gross. I want to use, for the sake of it, I'm just trying to think of what I want to do as the respective contest here. I mean, it would be just a general stroke play. We just have to get essentially the teams in the proper spot. 66999. Which one do I want to use? This still, no, we don't want to use it. I know. Let's just go in and just do a flex. We can use it. I can manipulate that enough to do it. Why am I blanking, Bill? Bill, I have your name, so I'll reach out to you right after this and I'll get you walked through. But theoretically, what you do is when you get for some reason I'm blanking on the contest. When you get in there, you'll be able to, like we showed in like that scramble, right, where it's a 25, 20, 15, 10. When I find you the proper contest, just losing my mind here, you'll be able to go in and say player 160, player 240, right? And then what you want to make sure is you put those players on the team in that respective position. And then the system will look at those players and base it right off of their positioning on the team and give 60 and 40% of their course handicap to them. So I'll reach out to you, Bill. We'll get everything cleaned up there for you. Apologize for the brain hiccup there. But let me see if you might have actually helped me out with that here, because there's a few more questions. So let me double check some things. I'll be right back. All right, Bill, no reply back from you, but I'll reach out to you here once we're done, get you squared away, but hopefully that explanation helped. The next one in here, no specific reason, but thoughts on showing gross scorecards as a default instead of net. Well, it is based off of how if you have multiple contests in the system, this is what you want to kind of show also. You want to make this the primary be your gross. That would essentially go ahead, if I added that, right, go in and we add a gross contest. That would be essentially the first one here. And what it should do is if I go into scorecards, right, it's going to show 100%, but it does look off of the contest. So if I select, stroke play, right, it still might show that as 100, but this should, and this could be something that we weren't aware of or noticed, or you're one of the first people to bring it up. Yeah, I'm going to look at that too, because that what the system should do. And oops, I got to share. Sorry, I forgot to do that. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Sorry about that. What it should do is I see your what's going on? I just attempted to post those or print that card. Usually if you have that house button there, it looks at the respective handicap rule. So if it's a gross or a net, it usually defaults the card to that respective contest. I'll double check that because that looks like you're the first person to bring that up. So we'll make sure we get that cleaned up. So if you do have, a primary contest as your gross, or that 100% that you see on the scorecards area to set to gross, we'll take a look at that for you, and I'll circle back with you on that one. But I appreciate you mentioning that because we would have never, we don't know unless you guys, spot these little things. If you see something kind of not acting the way it should. So I will get in touch with you there about that one here, if not by the end of the day today, first thing in the morning. Two more questions, guys, then I just have to run. The first one is, are you able to add additional rows to the bottom of the scorecard? You can if you use a custom card. You can build whatever you would like. The standard card is pre-built. So you only have the ability to move or modify some of the information on there. But if you go into scorecards, you'll be able to go in, and this was as I said, a bad example because we don't have everything turned on here. But ideally, you have like a custom card option right up here. You can go ahead, add, delete, do whatever you would like in there. But the standard card, the only modifications you can do are through here. And then emitting strokes and things along those lines. But what I would say is if you're looking to make your own cards, check the knowledge base out. It'll show you how to do custom cards and how you can add your own rows or whatever it would be. And then the last question, I added divisions to my golfers in the main roster and it keeps getting reset to no division overnight. I've done this multiple times. Is this a known issue? Mark, it is not a known issue. If you can do me a favor in the Q&A and just supply me with your club, I'll go in and take a look at that, see if I can get some more information of it and try to get that resolved for you, because that should stick in the system. So Mark, if you can, just go ahead and pop your name in that Q&A section, and I will essentially get in touch with you as well. All right, guys, let me see. Perfect. Thanks, Mark. I will get in touch with you here. We'll get that issue looked at for you. But that, as I said, that shouldn't stick. So I appreciate everybody for joining me. Hopefully this was helpful. Gives you a little bit more idea of how the USA integration works and some ideas with the net contests. But I appreciate you taking your time out of your day, and we'll see you guys soon.